Coming up, President Trump pressuring Congress to pass immigration legislation as he claims he will sign something to stop the separation of families at the border.
Coming up next, civil rights attorney Brian Claypool offers up one option Congress can act upon. It's called negative liberty rights. He's going to join us to explain how that works. Earlier this morning, President Trump said he will sign something to stop the separation of families at the U.S.-Mexico border, but he says Congress must follow it with an immigration bill, which could take days, if not weeks. Today's announcement included references to at least 2 court cases. Meantime, dozens of children continue to be separated from their parents. Thousands more wait in detention shelters and tents. Joining us now, civil rights and criminal defense attorney Brian Claypool. It's such a horrible situation, Brian. Thanks for helping us to sort it out. You say in the past the U.S. Supreme Court has used something called negative liberty rights in reference to separating immigrant families. What is that?
Well, years back, the U.S. Supreme Court came down with the decision. There was a woman in Minnesota who was an undocumented illegal immigrant, but she was not detained at the border. So she entered illegally, but didn't go through any detention at the border. And then she assimilated in society, got a job. And then what happened is she went in to get an abortion in a state that had legalized abortion. They wouldn't give her the abortion. And they said, we're not doing it because you're undocumented. She then sued. That led to the Supreme Court decision. And what the U.S. Supreme Court said is, if you are matriculating in the United States, you get these negative liberty rights, even though you're undocumented and illegal. What that means is you get basic due process rights and equal protection of the laws. But what the U.S. Supreme Court did that I think was really bad is they said if you are an illegal detained at the border and you are processed through immigration, then you don't get these negative liberty rights. You don't get constitutional rights to due process and equal protection. In fact, you're treated as if you're not even on U.S. soil. And that's the problem we're facing right now. These kids and these parents don't have any standing or constitutional rights to fight the government.
So it's just a matter of geography. If they get far enough away from the border, then it changes everything.
Isn't that something?
It changes everything.
So,
okay,
so why can't we fix that?
How can Congress or the president act to apply these negative liberty rights to the current families who are in this separation problem?
Well, there's a few things that they could do. Number one, they can enact a simple 2-sentence law that says any human being, any person, because remember our Constitution protects any person.
Right.
Person, doesn't say any citizen. So we could create a law that says any person who enters U.S. soil is protected by the U.S. Constitution under these negative liberty rights. That's one simple way to solve it. Another simple way to solve this is why are we prosecuting every single illegal immigrant that's crossing the border? President Obama didn't do that. Prior administrations didn't do that. We could stop doing that. Number 3, here's another this is an easy solution. Why not create a 60-day window for these parents to be prosecuted in these detention facilities? That would then allow the kids to go with the parents to the detention facility, wait up to 60 days instead of 21 days, and then have them prosecuted within 60 days instead of 21. Another easy solution, and Obama did this, is you have alternative detention centers, which is you allow the kids to stay with the parents, then you monitor the parents under supervision with ankle bracelets. That worked in the past.
We heard during that meeting with the Republican leadership and President Trump, Senator Lindsey Graham say that there was a dilemma for the president. He said that that if they do what has been done in the past and they allow the families to go pending a court date, that 80% of them do not show up for that court date. And you say there's evidence to suggest that number is inaccurate.
Yeah, look, this isn't about left or right. Sam, you made a good point earlier in the hour. This has nothing to do with left or right, and I think that's just promoting a Republican agenda. And let's be straight. I'm here. I voted for Obama in 2 elections, and I voted for President Trump in the last election. So this isn't about left or right. That comment's about right, about promoting the Republican agenda, because I did some research on this. And what they did is they combined the percentage of parents that weren't showing up at the hearings, which is about 35%, with the kids obviously aren't going to be showing up. Most of the kids are separated. 52% or some percentage of the kids weren't showing up. So what Lindsey Graham did, I believe, is he combined those 2 numbers to make it look much worse than it was. But here's another quick point. If that was the case, isn't that an embarrassment to our federal government? You're trying to enact a zero tolerance policy, and you're not even able to get these families to see a judge? That's pretty embarrassing.
Okay, so if President Trump does sign something, as he says, it's not really clear how will this be enacted? How will these families be reunited? Do you know what's going to happen with that?
Well, first of all, I don't trust what he's saying. And I'll tell you why. I want to read you a quick tweet that he sent out. This was so offensive. This was yesterday. He said, Democrats want illegal immigrants to infest the United States. My daughter is half Mexican. I'm a single parent. My daughter's half Mexican. My daughter's mom's family came from Mexico, okay? And they built a good life. That comment to me is potentially racially charged. He's not talking about gang members in that comment. He's talking about all illegal immigrants infesting. He's talking to them like they're garbage. So I'm not trusting anything he's saying right now. And to get to your question, that's a $1 million question. How are these kids going to be reunited with their families? Imagine this. Parents are being processed and then they're deported. Where are the kids? Do we even have a list of where the kids are? How are you going to get the kids? If the parents are sent back to Ecuador or El Salvador, how are you getting the kids back there? And then are we keeping track of the kids that have been separated from their parents? Because if we're not, then in my opinion, based on the work I've done, that creates a recipe for potential human trafficking.
Yeah.
These kids are so vulnerable, they don't even speak English. They can't even protect themselves. That's like putting Sam and I in the ring with Canelo Alvarez. How are we going to fight for ourselves?
Yeah, it's terrible.
All right, once again, Brian Claypool is a criminal defense and civil rights attorney. For more information, you can go to his website or follow him on Twitter. Brian, thanks for coming in.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
All right.